Now, we should move on to say that Reform UK has been in the news because 4 Reform councillors have lost the whip. Indeed, a spokesperson for the party has told GB News that those councillors had the whip removed pending an investigation following evidence they brought the party into disrepute.
Now, the councillors sat on Kent County Council and hit the headlines for all the wrong reasons when leaked videos showed bitter divisions between them.
Well, delighted to be joined now by the Deputy Leader of the Reform Party, Richard Tice. Richard, not a particularly good look for these squabbling councillors to splash onto the online pages of The Guardian.
Well, very good afternoon. And look, Reform's always in the news because we're leading in all the polls. And actually, it's the opposite, you know. What it shows is that we believe in strong, clear, no-nonsense leadership. And the worst of all worlds is when you have a private meeting and you have someone in that meeting recording it against all our internal rules and then leaking it to whoever, frankly. The whole point of private meetings is they are confidential. You have your debates, your discussions, your disagreements behind closed doors. You reach a view and then you go out and you sell it to the outside world. So we need strong leadership. The country is sick and tired of leaking. And in the world of business, you wouldn't tolerate such behaviour. And we think that actually we need to be very businesslike in saving our country, how you run the country. So I think it's quite right. And these people have been suspended pending full investigation. And I mean, it seems that some of them doubled down and actually, having then received an email or a notification from the leader, they then leaked that to The Guardian as well. It's completely intolerable. We're a no-nonsense, tell it as it is party. And I hopefully think that people will say, yeah, this is what the country needs. It needs strong leadership. Here's the point, though. We're actually saving hundreds of millions of pounds across our councils. Hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds. I personally launched a sort of a review of the mismanagement and overcharging and underperformance of the local government pension schemes, identifying billions of savings. So we're working very hard. We're only a few months in. Other bumps in the road? Of course. That's the nature of it. I think people can see that we can deal with it in a clear and robust, no-nonsense manner.
Using the internet without a VPN, a virtual private network, is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. This video's sponsor is Private Internet Access. They are the VPN to help keep you safe. Click the link in the description below to find out why over 30 million people have downloaded PIA to protect themselves online. A virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and helps keep your data private. When you're browsing the internet at home, you give up a large amount of data to businesses, to shops, and indeed to social media giants too. Hackers have the ability to steal your personal data with ease, including sensitive information such as passwords, keystrokes, and even your personal photos. Private Internet Access helps protect your personal data by encrypting your internet connection to keep your data out of the hands of cyber criminals. And it's not just hackers either to be concerned about. Information can be censored too. When Canada passed their C18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news and content you love. Private Internet Access is available for Windows users, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one PIA subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices. And we've got a huge GB News discount for you too. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get a massive 83% off PIA. That's under £2 a month, the price of a coffee, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free on top. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Visit piavpn.com/GB News to start protecting yourself digitally today.
So all the shouting and swearing, I mean, apparently the leader was shouting and swearing at everybody. That's okay. That, you know, because I think that was part of it, wasn't it?
Hey, listen, that's normal life. Occasionally, when you're in tense, business-like meetings, yeah, it's a bit like, that's what you do. You're under pressure. You know, we're trying to save hundreds of millions of pounds for taxpayers. And so, yeah, you know, you'll be pretty robust with each other. You'll challenge, you'll test, you'll probe. That's the right thing to do. You do that privately, quietly, and okay, occasionally diddums, someone uses a swear word. So what? This is called real life.
Yeah, but it's a bit, you know, it's a bit childish. It feels a little bit inexperienced. It feels quite quite unprofessional, Richard. I think it's what people want. You know, we want dynamic leaders, but we want professionalism.
Let me tell you, I've led businesses, billion-pound businesses, and guess what? Occasionally, when we have management meetings, you have the odd swear word, you have the odd bit of tension. That is how you make progress. That is how you challenge and push and check and probe. You then arrive at a solution. It's not unprofessional. It's actually working hard, roll your sleeves up, get stuck in, and stop being so petty and sort of politically correct about this stuff. People want action. They don't want nicey. Don't be worried about upsetting everybody. Yeah. The country's sick of this twaddle.
Yeah, Richard, I think a lot of people would agree with you there. I mean, I know a lot of politicians on a lot of different political parties, and let me tell you, a lot of the language can be quite frankly, blue behind closed doors. But
that's the point, behind closed doors.
But this argument specifically was over the tax raises that Kent County Council, your flagship council, the biggest council you run, will likely be having to bring in. The discussion was, will it be the full 5% or will the tax rises be lower than that? I mean, whatever happens, this council, your flagship council, despite saying it's found lots of savings, is still going to be raising taxes. How do you square that circle?
Well, first of all our 13 councils, they're all flagships. They're all incredible in their own different ways. And we are making, as I said, we're making hundreds of millions of pounds of identified savings, achieving them, billions of pounds potential on the better management of the pension schemes. Here's the thing, though, that however much money we save, what the government is doing is pushing down more costs onto councils than we can find savings. For example, and I know this will upset some people and your listeners and viewers now, but SEND, for example, very well intentioned for those children who genuinely need extra provision. Unfortunately, many thousands of parents are abusing the system, and it is costing hundreds of millions of pounds of council monies, and we're calling it out. We're saying that level of selfish behaviour is bankrupting councils.
Were you, Richard, just quickly, were you then dishonest at this year's local elections, when you won all these councils, saying you could save all this money and cut all of these taxes, when we know the vast majority of council spending isn't actually controlled by councils at all? It's controlled by government diktat.
Tom, that's a very serious allegation to accuse me of being dishonest. We said we would save hundreds of millions, and I've literally just been talking about them all over the place. Whether it's in Durham saving tens of millions on waste deals, recycling deals, whether it's elsewhere saving money on not building unnecessary properties, whether it's moving taxi transport to buses to save millions of pounds on SEND transport. We're doing all of that. What we didn't say, though, Tom, let's be absolutely totally clear on this. We didn't say we would reduce council tax. We would say we would cut out the waste. We would save lots and lots of money. And we are doing that. We are succeeding in that. We're only a few months in. Okay. Imagine, if we've identified hundreds of millions over a few months, imagine what we could do in 3.5 years. So that's where we're coming from, and we stand by it. Will we make mistakes, Tom? Of course. No one's perfect. What I will say is we'll get a huge lot more right than we get things wrong. Okay. And where we mess up, look, we'll be honest about it. And in a sense, we constantly challenge ourselves. And in a sense, maybe that's what you saw in that meeting. Some councillors were concerned, hadn't got something right, challenging it. Ultimately, you have your debate, then the boss, the leader, has to say, we're calling time on this debate, we've got to make a decision, and we've got to crack on and go and sell it to the public. And that's what we're doing.